Hello everyone, welcome to welearn-educ. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell. So today we are going to describe the brachial plexus. And according to Grace, the brachial plexus is a somatic plexus that supplies the upper limbs. The brachial plexus is divided into 5 regions as seen. So we have the roots, the trunks, the divisions, cords, and terminal nerves. Starting with the roots, which originate from the lower 4 cervical nerves and the upper thoracic nerve. That is from their anterior rami. So the roots, from the roots we have terminal branches, and these branches we have from C5 we have the dorsoscapular nerve. This dorsoscapular nerve, when traced, it goes to supply the rhomboid major and minor. That is in the posterior aspect of the body. Then also at the C5 level we have a contribution to the phrenic nerve. As you know, the phrenic nerve is formed from C3, C4 and C5. So its C5 branch is from this. Then we have the long thoracic nerve. This long thoracic nerve originates from C5, C6 and C7 and runs inferiorly to supply the serratus anterior. And on a real cadaver it could be easily evidenced on the superficial surfaces of the serratus anterior. Then when you come to the trunks, but one thing to note, the trunks and the roots are found in the neck region, that is between the scalenus anterior and medius. Now the trunk, there are basically 3 trunks. You have the superior, middle and inferior trunk. Now the superior trunk is formed, when traced backward, comes from C5 and C6. Roots C5 and C6. Now this superior trunk gives off two small branches. That is, the first one you have the suprascapular nerve, and when traced it moves through the suprascapular foramen to supply the supraspinatus and infraspinatus muscle. Then they have the nerve to the subclavius. The nerve to the subclavius moves medially to supply the subclavius muscle. Then the middle trunk, which is simply a continuation of C7 root, gives no smaller nerve. Now when you come to the inferior trunk, the inferior trunk comes from root C8 and T1. Now when you move to the divisions, there are basically 6 divisions, and the divisions are formed from the trunks. Each trunk gives 2 divisions, that is an anterior and posterior division. Now the divisions give no branch. Now the divisions give rise to the cords, and they have the 3 cords. You have the lateral, posterior and medial cord. Now these cords are in relation with the second part of the axillary artery. Remember, the axillary artery has 3 parts. Now the second part of the axillary artery is in closer association with the cords, and they're in the axillary region. Now the lateral cord is formed from the anterior divisions of the superior and middle trunk. If you see it like this, when you trace it, I think you can really notice that. Then the posterior cord is formed from all the posterior divisions of the trunks. I think you can note that very well. Then the medial cord is just a continuation of the anterior division of the inferior trunk. That is it. Then when you come to the lateral cord gives 1 branch. That is the lateral pectoral nerve. From its name, it supplies the pectoralis major muscle. It's lateral pectoral nerve. Then we have the posterior cord. The posterior cord gives rise to the superior subscapular nerve, then gives the thoracodorsal nerve and the inferior subscapular nerve. When you come to the medial cord, it gives rise to the medial pectoral nerve, medial cutaneous nerve of the arm, which supplies the medial aspect of the arm, then the medial cutaneous nerve of the forearm, which runs to supply the medial aspect of the forearm. Then when you come to the terminal nerves, they have the main terminal nerves, and they are basically 5. We have the musculocutaneous nerve, we have the median nerve, radial and the ulnar nerve.
Go.
For the posterior cord, we talked about the 3 branches. The superior subscapular nerve, which is more proximal, runs to supply the subscapularis muscle. Then the thoracodorsal nerve, which is the longest among the three, runs to supply the latissimus dorsi muscle. The inferior subscapularis nerve runs to supply the teres major and the subscapularis muscle. So now, going back to the terminal nerves. So we talked about the masticutaneous nerve, which is this, which comes from the lateral cord. Now this masticutaneous nerve supplies what we call as the B, C muscles. Now this B means the biceps brachii, brachialis muscle, coracobrachialis. But it runs, it first pierces the coracobrachialis and then continues as the lateral cutaneous nerve of the forearm. That means its terminal ending supplies the lateral aspect of the forearm cutaneous nerve. Now when you come to the median nerve, now this median nerve is formed from the lateral and medial roots of the lateral and medial cord. These two roots. Now this median nerve, as you see, trace it like that, it runs to supply muscles of the anterior compartment of the forearm and also supplies the hand, that is, the cutaneous supplies the lateral 3.5 of the hand. Then it also supplies the muscles of the arm, that is the three thinner muscles, the thinner muscles of the thumb, then the lateral lumbricals. Now, this median nerve in the forearm, it supplies all the muscles of the anterior compartment except the flexor carpi ulnaris and also the medial half of the profundus. Now, when you come now to the radial nerve, which is the largest nerve, this radial nerve, which comes from the posterior cord together with the axillary nerve. Now, starting with the axillary nerve, this axillary nerve in the axilla, it runs to supply the deltoid muscle. Now, the radial nerve, this nerve runs, that is the lateral aspect of the arm, to supply the muscles of the posterior compartment of the forearm. Then to supplies muscles of the hand, posterior aspect of the hand. Then the ulnar nerve, which comes from the medial cord, runs to supply the muscles, the medial aspect of the medial muscles of the forearm. Then it gives also cutaneous innervation in the medial 1.5 of the hand. Now, what we've discussed through are the main branches of the brachial plexus. But one thing to note is that the roots are found in the neck region together with the trunks, that is between the scalenus, anterior and medius. Then these divisions are formed in association, that is posterior to the middle third of the clavicle. Then when you come to the cords, they are found in the axilla and their names are obtained from the second part of the axillary artery. So please, this is what we've discussed today. So in the next video, we shall talk about the damages that affects the brachial plexus and their presentation. So please, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much.